Hey, it's Filet, and you're watching Filet TV, the ultimate YouTube channel. I'm the son of a photographer, just a dude with a camera. All right, today we are going to look at air layering and dirt layering at the same time. It's a nice warm autumn day here on Filet TV, and I figured why not get to a couple of projects. I'm going to do a little air layering quickly early in the season, so when springtime comes along, these things are ready to start pumping. So if this is something you're interested in, let's get started. It's crazy. It's October 18th. Sun shines against the side of my shop here, and as you can see, it shows 106 degrees outside. It's quite warm in the sun, so that's why most of the plants have to stay in the shade all the time. So on a hot fall day, while everything is leafing out like mad and actually branching out, like this big geisha here that got really killed in the sun this summer. So I've taken a air layer and dated it 1018. And we're going to keep an eye on this and see how well it'll root before it goes completely dormant, because it's still growing leaves and still, like I said, branching out. So I think we can still air layer this time of year. Okay, I've also selected another branch, scarred it up a little bit big, but you can see I've got my rooting hormone on there. And what I'm doing this time is I'm going to use one of these silly little cups. Believe it or not, I tried it before and it worked, but I had it way in the back where I couldn't add moisture to it. So sometimes you do need to give it a little moisture if it gets exposed to too much sun. That's why I'm also trying to do it this time of year. So like I said, it's early fall. It's still really warm out, easily in the 90s here in Southern California. So I'm going to continue to air layer because this thing is just growing like a crazy one. Something like it's going wild, like geisha gone wild. All right, so I've crammed it as full as I can. And I might have to put the camera down because I don't feel like going out and getting a tripod. But I'm gonna go ahead and clamp this into place with this in the center. I wanna do this with two hands so I don't knock off all my rooting hormone. Okay, I've left the stagnant moss as wet as possible. And as I clamp on this and get into place, you can see it will drain out the excess. So I'm gonna do that now, and then I'm gonna go grab a couple of zip ties. I went and added a zip tie in each corner, so now all I'm gonna do is just knock these leads off. And this will be dated the same as that one, 1018. So we'll revisit this on the first day of winter, which will be December 20th or something, I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But anyways, we will get back to you as soon as we see any kind of change. We'll monitor this one, look for roots. This one, there's not much we can do, but at least they won't dry out because it's going to be more in the shade. And we're going to see what kind of results we have. But either way, we'll be back. Okay, I've also made my cuts on my Thrumpenberg that's been chopped, and it's having some upper bark issues. So I'm going to go ahead and air layer this one out, because this one, if you would have seen it just a couple of weeks ago, it looked deader than dead. Chopped a few things off, cleaned it up, and it's back to pumping. So I'm going to go ahead and get an air layer going on this one. All right, I got the bottom into place with just a zip tie. I kind of made a cone shape. And I'm just using the Ziploc bag, doubled up and then wrapped around. And I'm gonna push the sphagnum moss down as far as I can in there, and then button up the top of it with another Ziploc. I should say I'm gonna be buttoning the top of it up with another tie wrap. All right, with 3 tie wraps, we can go ahead and snip these off. I'm gonna get my marker and date this again October 18th, just so we can keep our eyes on it. Okay, and on this big geisha, I've also made another cut here. Got another big pile of sphagnum moss that's been soaked and drained, and I'm gonna go ahead and strap this one in as well. Okay, and the last one for the day is wrapped up and dated. All right, as you can see, what do we got going on? We got 5 air layers going on. Second week of fall, while everything is leafing out like crazy. We've got 3 different geisha. We've got a Verdes, which this one's growing straight up, so it needs to be clipped. So I'll layer that first. And then we got this big old Thrumpenberg. That, like I said, is having some bark issues. So I'm trying to air layer out what I can. All right, now I want to show you a failed attempt at air layering. My biggest problem is that these trees get too tall and they just get blasted from the Southern California heat here because there's no shade where I like to keep them until this time of year. So they just get all their tips fried off, as you can see. So I went to air layer last season in this spot right here, and as you can see, I didn't have any luck. It didn't root. It didn't even, start to swell up and create nubs. Because I noticed today when I'm looking at it, let's see if we can find it. There, on the path, I left a little tiny bit of a connection, which allowed the sap to continue. That little spot, and even though the whole tree got fried, this thing's still tipping out nicely. So I was going to make another attempt at air layering it just a bit lower, but then you're going to have some scarred up trunk, so I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let me show you another success/failure. Okay, for this one I have brought it into the shop. And I will insert some pictures in here so you can see a better look at it. But you can see it was pretty tall, and I cut it off, and this is what's grown back. Okay, so this, when I had got the tree, it was about 6 feet tall, and it was buried to about here, but it had all this root damage. Bark damage, almost like somebody tried to air layer at one time. It kind of looked like a little bit of a graft, but you can see it kept growing. So this thing I rescued in the back of a nursery. And what I decided to do, and I'll, like I said, insert some pictures over here in the corner, that I decided I was going to dirt layer it because it was so long I was just playing around. So I did my separation here and planted it back in, I gave it some root hormone and put it back in the pot. Actually, it was already in the pot. I dug the dirt down deep, made a scar. Like I said, here's the pictures. And then I forgot about it. And like I said, it was like 6 feet tall and it just was not doing good, not growing any branches. And so I chopped it off, and then this thing grew back. And then when I was moving some dirt around, I noticed that the dirt layer did take really well. And here's the original bottom root with the nabari, but it's been buried, so it's all decayed. But it had a couple of scars in this thing, and I was able to dirt layer it. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back in the dirt. All right, in fact, I decided I was gonna cut this bottom piece off anyways, because you can see this is all dead, and it's just decaying. That means I have to put it in a really tall pot. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off just right here. And then we're gonna get this into a smaller pot and just watch it. This is a cute little tree. All right. It is October 18th, 2022. Air layering. If you guys like, share, and subscribe, we'll be back to this in just about 8 weeks and see what's going on. Maybe wintertime we'll cut a couple open and just take a look. See if we had any roots before the wintertime. So thanks for watching. This is Gearhead Gardener on Full ATV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me along on this journey as I just do whatever I want. Thanks for watching. Ciao.